This episode is brought to you by Rival Fantasy. You can go to joinrival.com/boxofficeqbs right now and get $25 free play. Plus, they will match your first deposit of up to $200.
Just go home. That's your home. Are you too good for your home? Answer me.
Welcome into Box Office Quarterbacks, a very special edition of Box Office Quarterbacks with a very special guest. We are joined by my friend Raf Stitt from ScreenAge Wastelands, The Canon. We're doing a home and home thing where I was on his pod last week. He's on my pod this week. Man, I'm so happy to have you here. Like we said last week, it was a long time coming because we've been tagging each other on Follow Fridays way back when on Twitter, like in the middle of the pandemic. And now we're finally getting together to talk about a really cool movie this week.
Yeah, man. I'm happy to be here. It's been a very long time coming. I think we said the same thing last week on my show. So I'm happy that we're doing this. I believe you called it a home and home.
Yeah.
So very exciting stuff.
Yeah. And joined by my co-host Ahmed as always. Today, guys, we are talking about a classic, and we wanted to talk about Happy Gilmore after Bob Barker's passing a few weeks ago, because that scene is just so iconic and so hilarious. But we wanted to take a deeper look into this movie and why it still has stood the tests of time. Raf, I'm going to start with you. What was your initial reactions when you first saw this movie?
Wow. Initial reactions. Years ago, I'm a big Adam Sandler fan. I feel like most people, you're either a Happy Gilmore guy or a Billy Madison guy. I've always personally been more of a Billy Madison guy, but I still love Happy Gilmore. I probably saw this movie at too young of an age, maybe like 9 or 10, and always thought that Adam Sandler was like the funniest guy in the world. So I've always kind of loved it. It's a movie I've seen more times than I can count. And it's one of those movies, it's one of those comedies, every time you rewatch it, you find a new thing that is just absolutely hilarious that you've never picked up on before. So yeah, I've loved it for years, and I still love it to this day.
Yeah. Ahmed.
It's one of those movies that, when I first saw it, I didn't watch it from the beginning, if that makes sense. It was just one of those movies that was on TV, or it was just, hey, Happy Gilmore's on. And you just you can start it from the middle, you can start it from close to the end, and either way you'll enjoy it. And that's exactly how it was. Am I glad I watched it from beginning to end this time? Yeah. But I mean, does it really make a difference? No. This is not to criticize Adam Sandler, but going on Raf's point, I actually am a Happy Gilmore fan instead of Billy Madison, but that's just because my bias is I hate the sloppy that voice that he does. And it's just because I know Adam Sandler can act. And so when he chooses to go that direction, I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah. For me, though, I'm more of a Big Daddy guy because that was the first Adam Sandler movie I ever saw. So
Love
it
Big
is,
Daddy.
yeah, a little out of the left field. I would say this is probably number 2, though, for me. I remember watching this as a kid. And, I would go golfing with my grandpa, and this was probably a bad movie for me to watch before I went golfing because I would throw my golf clubs and get mad and do all this stuff. So not exactly a role model. Happy Gilmore was.
Would you do the big wind-up swing when you were golfing with him?
I tried. I whiffed it super hard, though, and I looked very, very foolish on the driving range when I would try to do that. But
did you ever
yeah.
whisper expletives at the fucking, why don't you go to your home? You're too good for your home.
See, maybe if I would have done that, I would have made the golf team in high school.
Maybe.
Yeah. They're like, this guy's unhinged. Let's put him on the team. But yeah, guys, there are so many memorable scenes in this movie. I mean, I have a list of them. Ahmed, let's start with you. What are some of your favorite scenes of Happy Gilmore?
I mean, I guess I'll just go right in swinging and say the classic Bob Barker fight, and that's just because growing up, my uncle would always have game shows on I don't know why, but that's just what he did. And Price is Right was his jam. And the first time I saw Bob Barker, it was the first time I recognized a celebrity on television, or I'm sorry, in a movie. And just to kind of see that interaction at a young age, you can't help but laugh. And then each time you see it, it gets even funnier. And you know me, Jeff, I'm the kind of person that loves trivia. So, Ralph, you're about to watch me nerd out, but I rewatched an interview, kind of an interview where Bob Barker was talking about the fight. And he said, young men particularly love that scene. And from 1994, when that movie came out, up until about 2007, 2008, when he stopped hosting, there wasn't one day of filming that an episode of Price is Right where a guy didn't want to ask him about the fight. And they would say, in real life, can you really whip Adam Sandler? And Bob Barker would always go, oh, Adam Sandler. He couldn't whip Regis Philbin.
Oh no.
No. And but it gets funnier is he says, I would always say Regis Philbin, and I'd mess around and be like, oh, Adam Sandler, he couldn't whip Pat Sajak. He couldn't whip Alex Trebek. But for some reason, and they'd laugh, but for some reason, they'd laugh way harder whenever I would say Regis Philbin. What the hell is funny about Regis Philbin?
Just imagine Regis trying to beat somebody's ass, though. I think I would probably laugh too. Like celebrity death match. Yeah.
Like, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Not you, bitch.
Was he a short guy? Was he a short king? I feel like that's probably it.
Maybe, and I'm short too,
was.
so I can laugh at that, I guess.
Like Alex Trebek, he had some sneaky dog in him. You know, if you try to start a fight with Trebek, I mean, this is based on absolutely nothing. I'm totally just speculating, but he looks like the kind of guy. He had that mustache and everything going. If Adam Sandler tried to start a fight with him, Trebek would definitely take him down.
Yeah, but I wouldn't fuck with Alex Trebek.
Yeah, he seems like the quiet type. You don't want to run up on the quiet types.
Yeah,
there is something about having Bob Barker be the one that's featured in this movie, though, because he up to this point he was famous for hosting The Price is Right. Everyone sort of knew him as this sweet daytime TV game show host who couldn't do anything wrong, and then here you have him throwing punches and dropping bitches and F-bombs and stuff like that.
Bitches in those.
Yeah. But it's like the first time that anyone had seen him in his 30-year career cursing or do anything sort of unsavory like that. So I think it was a perfect choice for a host to have Adam Sandler fight in the movie.
It is a perfect scene. There are so many perfect scenes, though. Raf, tell me some of your favorite scenes of this movie.
I think I love a lot of the scenes with Chubbs, just because Carl Weathers is great, and it's a lot of fun watching him.
Donald Glover. Danny Glover. Danny Glover.
Is it Danny Glover?
Danny Glover, yeah.
No. It's Carl Weathers.
It is?
It is Carl Weathers. It's Apollo Creed, Ahmed.
Oh, shit. That's right. Oh, God.
At first, I was like, Donald Glover is in this movie?
Yeah.
No.
I was so confused.
Sorry. My bad.
Did
Carl
I watch the
Weathers,
wrong
right.
Happy Gilmore?
No, because I'm so used to Carl Weathers being like swole as shit, and here he's got the fucking sweater vest, so I just presumed it was Danny Glover.
I think that's kind of what they're playing with, though, right? Like, Carl Weathers, his history as an actor, he's mostly known as Apollo Creed and training Rocky. And here he's a goofy golfer who wears like Lacoste sweaters and polos, training Adam Sandler to be a golfer. So like everything that they're doing with him is super funny. I think my favorite scene, though, I would say with him is the opening scene that we get of him, just because the way that they try to hide his fake hand like behind a magazine, and then he like holds it behind his back is absolutely hysterical. And then it ends with that great moment where Adam Sandler like takes a giant swing and the hand flies off into the street, and he's like, don't worry about it. It's indestructible. It's made out of like really strong wood. And then a truck just runs it over and ruins it. It's so funny. It's so dumb. Like the hand is so obviously fake. And they do a lot of funny stuff with just like his wardrobing. like the sweaters all look ridiculous on him because it's clearly his hand holding onto a fake hand inside of it. But it gets me every single time. And this last time that I watched it, I was like damn near on the floor.
Yeah, I love that he's wearing Lacoste sweaters and it has the alligator on there too. So it's like, this is the thing that took my hand and I'm just going to wear it every single day. So
And it's funny you bring up the sweaters because I never remembered this scene where he tells Happy to kind of like dress up appropriately. He says, if I dressed like that, I'd have to kick my own ass.
Yeah.
yeah.
So good. And he shows up, Happy showing up to golf in baggy pants and Timberland boots is one of the funniest things. Like, comedies, we usually think about them just being lines of dialogue and like maybe some slapstick here or there. But this movie is doing comedy with just wardrobe, which is something that like you don't really think of as being funny. But again, like Chubbs with his sweaters, Happy with his Tims, it's all like going into the comedy and like working on so many different levels. It's so good.
Yeah. And I love that when Happy joins the tour, like there's a different demographic of golf fans that make it to the course. So like Shooter McGavin at one point, he was like, I saw some big fat bikers banging in the woods or something like that. He was like, what has he done to the tour? It was like super hilarious. But I would say my favorite scene is when Chubbs takes Happy to work on his short game and he takes him to a putt-putt golf course. I just thought it was hilarious. And then Adam Sandler yelling at a huge clown.
You're going to die, clown.
Yeah, I thought it was so funny. And then that's when he goes to his happy place for the first time. And then you see this like outlandish fantasy of his where, you know, his girlfriend's laying on a bed in the middle of the golf course. There's a midget riding a bike. His grandma is playing a slot machine in the middle of the 9th green or something like that. So that is my favorite scene of this movie.
It was just the fact that you brought up that scene, and I'm glad you did, because that scene inspired so many other comedy scenes. Dude, Where's My Car with the and then to Kumail Nanjiani in The Big Sick, where he's like, can I get a burger with 4 slices of cheese? And they're like, no, we can't do that. He's like, just put 4 slices of cheese on a burger. You know?
Yeah.
And that scene just that scene though, that probably in Happy Gilmore was inspired by something else, but in terms of comedy movies, stoner comedies, whatever, that was like, I feel like the pinnacle of everything is going to come always back to that scene.
Yeah. Like there's so much good stuff in here. And like I was going to say, like the small things in here are hilarious. Like there's his caddy who's a homeless guy, and one of the other golfers puts down a quarter as a marker on the putting green, and then he picks it up right away. Like it's just little shit like that makes this movie, I think, stand the test of time. It's just really great, and that's going to be my transition into our favorite character draft, brought to you by Rival Fantasy Sports. We're doing something a little different these days, where we're doing a draft. Raf, I'm going to give you the first pick in our draft. Ahmed, you'll get number 2. I'll get number 3. You can pick your favorite character of the movie, but we can't pick the same one twice. You are on the clock, my friend.
Are we going snake draft or?
We are going snake draft. Snake
right,
draft.
Cool.
So we'll get 2 picks each.
All right. Sweet. With my first pick, I'm going to go with Shooter McGavin. I think Shooter is the best villain in any sports movie. He is so perfectly hateable. Chris McDonald plays him so well, to the point where he like couldn't really get work after this because everyone just sees him as Shooter McGavin. It's one of the most iconic characters in any sports movie, in any comedy movie. He almost outshines Adam Sandler, to the point where I'm gonna take him with my number 1 pick.
Speaking of number 2, pieces of shit for breakfast.
No.
I want to save this one for later, but I kind of want to just get it out of the way. But Ben Stiller as the
Oh,
orderly, you
yeah.
know, because
It's
it's
so
Ben
funny.
Stiller. It's Ben Stiller. Like, he seems like the nicest guy in the world in real life, and then he has to play this like complete monster, and but he's such a likable monster, even though he's clearly a monster. Can I trouble you for you? You can trouble me for a glass of shut the hell up.
But he says it so nicely too.
I know. My fingers hurt. Well, now your back's gonna get hurt because you're about to go on landscaping duties.
Oh my
Anybody
god.
else's back hurts? Or fingers hurts? I fucked it up, but you know what I mean. But yeah, it's perfect. So yeah, Ben Stiller as the mean orderly.
Yeah. Yeah, that whole shit had me cracking up. Like if they ever did a spin-off, that would be the one spin-off I would want to see. But Ben Stiller as the orderly. I am, for my pick, going to do Chubbs. I love Carl Weathers and everything he does. I love him here because he's playing so against type what he normally plays, which is like, Apollo Creed or a guy who's fighting the Predator. Here, he kind of really shows off his comedic chops. And I love when we first meet Chubbs and he's, the golf pro at the driving range and he's working with this lady and he's not even watching her swing. And he's like, all right, yeah, that looks good. I mean, yeah, keep doing you, Bernice, or whatever. That shit was hilarious. So he is going to be my number 3 pick. And because we were doing the snake draft, I'll be up again. I'm going to do Grandma at number 4. I thought Grandma was hilarious and just a sweet old lady who wears a kiss mask to welcome in young Happy into his new home. So she will be my number 4. Ahmed, you are on the clock.
I'm gonna give it to, I think her name was Virginia, Happy's love interest. I didn't know that was Julie Bowen, mom in Modern Family.
Yeah.
She also
Yeah.
plays Kevin Spacey's wife in the movie Horrible Bosses. It's kind of cool that Julie Bowen, like, to her credit, she's been still killing it. She's still I think she has that. Oh, or Veronica Vaughn and Billy Madison. What the hell has she been up to?
Sonya Blade. But that was
Sonya
it.
Blade,
Yeah.
but that was about it. She was Sonya Blade, wasn't she? Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
She's getting those nice MK residuals, though. I will,
No, yeah.
will say that.
Yeah.
All right, Raf, you got the last pick on our draft.
Okay, I feel like it's weird if none of us take Happy, but I'm still not going to take Happy Gilmore as my last pick. I think I'm going to take, I don't know if this character has a name, but he's the guy who's also on the Pro Tour who is always there shaking his head.
Oh,
and
yeah.
his only line of dialogue is Grizzly Adams did have a beard, which to me as like a 4th, 5th grader was the funniest thing in the world. And anytime in school or like on the playground or whatever, like with my friends when we were messing around and we were correcting someone on something, the quote was always Grizzly Adams did have a beard. So because of that, I'm taking that guy
You guys,
with the last pick.
You guys, we forgot one more person. You jackass, that guy.
Oh,
If
that
we were
guy,
gonna do,
yeah.
if we were gonna do another round, he was gonna be my next
Yeah,
pick.
yeah. Like, how
If you
could
guys
we
ever
forget
watch,
about him?
if
You
you ever watch Freaks
jackass.
and Geeks, that's the
Uh-huh.
dad
Yeah, he's
from
the
Freaks
dad.
and Geeks. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, no shit. Okay.
yeah,
You will not make this putt, jackass.
yeah, jackass.
I remember as a child, that was the most memorable scene for me, and just dying of laughter. And I was like, this is inappropriate, but no one gave a shit.
Let's get into our final scores, though, guys. Raf, we'll run down the rankings one more time before we get into it. So, Hall of Fame is the highest ranking you can go. All Stars next, starter, bench, and cut are after that. If you really love this movie, you can pull out the GOAT card, which we have done on occasion. I will
Creed
give
3.
Creed 3 was the GOAT. We have a lot of recency bias
Nice.
here. I will say that. But Raf, I will let you go first. What score would you give this movie?
I think I'm going to put Happy Gilmore in the Hall of Fame. It's, for people our age, right? I think we're all sort of within the same generation.
Yeah.
For guys our age, Happy Gilmore is one of the defining comedies of our youth, of our upbringing, of our formative years. It, again, like, the lines are super quotable. I will throw out a jackass. Grizzly Adams did have a beard. You eat pieces of shit. The list goes on and on. My finger hurts. When I was playing sports growing up, if we didn't want to practice, we would say to our coach, "My finger hurts." Just so many great lines. Like, this movie really informed a lot of what I found to be funny growing up, and still does. I still find it super funny. Adam Sandler is the GOAT. There's no doubt in my mind about that. But for Happy Gilmore, I'm definitely going Hall of Fame status for this one.
Yeah.
Agreed. It's a Hall of Fame. And it's not like Oscar winning, any kind of thing like that. But in terms of comedy, it does set a precedent for other comedy films. A lot of other Adam Sandler films just kind of like try to rival that type, but I don't think it's as cool. The others are as quotable as Happy Gilmore is. I'm not a sports fan, you guys know this, but it makes you kind of the film draws you in. And it's one of those movies that you don't need to watch it from the beginning to appreciate it. You can watch it from the middle, you can watch it from the end, and you will still just fall in love with the film. And that's what makes it such a timeless classic. And as I'm saying it, I feel hella old, and I'm turning 30 this December.
Well, I am much older than you.
Yeah,
so
I know.
We're very old.
I know. So the fact that I'm saying classic is like I'm dying on the inside.
That means I'm in the grave at this point. But
ready for retirement.
Ready for retirement. Yeah, I agree with you guys. This movie is a Hall of Fame. It is a perfect comedy. It's a perfect movie to throw on at any time of the year. It's just so quotable. This is like our Caddyshack, I guess. It's what your dad or your uncle or your older relatives think about that movie is what we think about Happy Gilmore. So, classic sports movie, one of the best Adam Sandler movies he's ever made. I think he said it was his favorite movie he's ever made. So yeah, nothing but good things. Anything else you guys want to add, though, before we get out of here?
Can I ask you guys one follow-up question?
Hmm.
Is this a first ballot Hall of Famer?
100%, I would say.
I would say so. First ballot, 100%, like Ken Griffey style.
Yeah, like, it's so good. Like, just the little things, like I said, they do great in here. There's like so many moments of comedy that are memorable and just have stood the test of time.
Yeah. We should also remember two things. To rest in peace, Bob Barker, and to spay and neuter our pets.
That's right. I couldn't have said it better. All right, guys. Well, this has been another...
I got Raf's smiling with his teeth. I like it. He's trying to hold it in. He's like, this fucking guy. This fucking guy.
This jackass.
This episode is for you, Bob. This has been Box Office Quarterbacks. That's our friend Raf. That's Ahmed. I am Jeff. We will talk to you guys next week. Have a good rest of the week.